Okay, everybody, welcome to Jack Dodson's Racing Insider News without Scott Allen. He's not here again tonight. But hopefully, I got some information and some news coming up about Scott. So hopefully, he'll be getting out of jail soon. Um, anyway, let's thank our sponsors real quick. Got Bill. Oh, I forgot to say we got Bill Eaker with us. He's going to be with us for a little while tonight. So that'll. And let's see. Here we go. Let's get to our. Takes me a minute. I'm not the fastest person in the world. Want to thank Factory Canopies and Fluid Logic. Todd Davis, he's the one that gave us all this right here and had it made up for us. He gave us the chairs. I got two of them. I didn't bring the other one up with me.
Yeah, I feel like I'm way up high, like I'm tall or something.
We usually what we do is we let the guest and Scott sits over there on the end with one. And but anyway, I want to thank Todd for all he does for us, and he'll be back with us again next year. Slinger Speed Company. They do a lot of shirts for a lot of the race teams and stuff around here, as far as the nice pullover shirts and stuff. He does a lot of work with that. So hopefully we'll have him on. He's supposed to come on the show real soon too. Mayhem Management. Erin Goodman. Erin's not with us tonight, as you can see. Erin had something to come up with work and everything, so she's not going to be here tonight. But thank you for all she does for us. She does a lot of our graphic designs and stuff for us and helps us out. Papa John's Pizza. Man, we got Papa John's with us tonight. Really appreciate all they do for us. They send us pizza every week, and it's really cool. We get to feed our guests sometimes, and everything works out all right. Our show is brought to you by Smith's Wraps and Graphics. They're our title sponsor for this year. Does a lot of. I think he does what 80% of the race cars.
He does quite a few of them for sure.
He's got himself stretched out big time. NC 811 Brian Morehouse. Now, starting on January the 1st, we will become Virginia 811. It'll be Virginia 81 because Brian has moved to Virginia, to the Virginia side, and they're going to be back with us. GAC, Great American Companies, Guillermo Amaya and his company. He is a construction company up and down the East Coast. He's got all kinds of, from Maine all the way to Florida and probably over to the Mississippi River and maybe beyond that. I know he's supposed to have some stuff in Texas coming up or whatever. I talked with them this week, and they'll be back with us again next year. Bondrit Brothers Distillery, Robert Bondrit. Appreciate Robert for all he does for us. And hopefully I'll be able to get down there to his distillery pretty soon and bring some moonshine back. I haven't had a chance to get down there lately. Pepsi, the local Pepsi distributor. We appreciate them. They bring us, they get us Pepsis. I haven't been able to get up with them the last couple of weeks, but anyway, they help us out as much as they can. Langley Speedway, Bill, Chuck, Terry, everybody here at Langley Speedway, we really appreciate all they do for us. They let us have our show here, and that's a big deal for us. Black Acid Apparel. Got a lot of our shirts and everything has come from Black Acid Apparel. We appreciate Bill Petroff and everybody down at Black Acid. MPM Marketing. This is Tanya McAllister and her group down there. They do a lot of marketing drivers. They promote them, help promote them, get them. I think they do.
Get them noticed.
Show them how to do interviews and stuff like that. A lot of the guys get involved with her and involved with that. So she's a big help to them. And that's our sponsors.
Sorry about that.
As far as news for racing this past weekend, I don't think there was but one big race anywhere around. That was down at Hickory.
Yeah.
One of our guests tonight, Coleman Presley, won the. I think it's the first time he's been in a late model in a right long time. Had Joey Logano as his sponsor. That was a pretty big deal. And so he's going to be with us in a little while. He's going to tell us all about his racing down at the Fall Brawl down at Hickory. I understand C.E. Falk was also in the race.
Was he?
I did not know that until I think maybe it was today I found out he was down there in the race. So we'll talk with him. They also had the Carolina Pro Late Model Series down there, and Caden Quapple got the win. As far as the other series running down there, I did not get any reports from any of those. So that's about it. All right, let's talk with Bill Eaker, the Ucar driver. Hello, guys. You're making a lot of noise there, Bill said. We're making noise up here.
Oops, sorry.
Anyway, Bill, tell us a little bit about 2022 and what all you had going on in 2022 and how's everything worked out for you?
So, well, we ended up finishing second in the points. So overall, we had a good season. Last year we got started in Ucars again. I took some time off from running super streets. We decided we want to get back in, so we built a car for 2021, the silver car we call Sylvia. And we ran well. We had good time. I finished second, third, fourth a lot. But it came down to the final race, and early in the season we blew a motor, and we had to sit that race out, and it meant getting 0 points is tough. So we said to ourselves, we're not gonna let that happen. And so it came to the last race of the season, we were 25 points back. We had no shot, right? But had we finished second in that race that we didn't race, well, we would have been tied, right? Who knows if it would have been different, but whatever. We told ourselves we're not going to let that happen again. So we said we're going to build a backup car. And of course, you know how that goes. You build in the backup car, you're like, well, maybe we'll make this one the primary car. We'll build it better, right? And so we did that, and that was the plan for last year. And we just never got that green car going right. We just problem after problem. First I thought it was a steering rack, then we thought it was this and that, and the rear end was bent. I'm not sure we ever really found out what it was, but we did toward the end there get it a little bit better. But about halfway through the season, we kind of got too far behind, so we said we're gonna run this green car, and whatever happens happens. So we gave up a lot of points, and then of course Christian had his problems that one race, missed that race.
It brought you right back.
And it brought me right back in there. I'm like, oh no, why did we give up those points? And but whatever. Look, we had fun. Racing Ucars is awesome. I like all the guys we race with, and we have a good time. So be it.
That's what it's all about, to have a good time.
That's right. Absolutely. It's a great time.
So the two cars, now you're going to stay with one and have the one for a backup, I hear.
That's right. Yeah. So I think all of us we're just, okay, the silver car, that's the primary car. So we'll fix her up, make her look good again. And that'll probably be our primary car next year. And, maybe we'll put some people in the green one. I don't know. We'll see.
Tell us why you settled on Ucars. I mean, you were in the super streets and then you come back and went Ucars. What made you lean towards the Ucars?
Well, so that's where I started, right, at Langley, back in 2008. 2008 was my first year, and I ran Ucars for, I guess, five years. We won the championship in 12, and after that, we were like, well, ain't nowhere to go but down from here. So we the thought was I'm going to take some time off, but that off season, we ended up buying the Super Street, getting talked into running Super Street, and we ran that, and we had a good time there. We won some races, ran good. It was fun, but it was getting hard, and kind of backed away from that. And it's really tough to give up racing once it's in your blood, and you just don't want to do it. And I thought I could do it, and I just couldn't. I was like, I want this. I want to do it again. And Ucar is, let's face it, it's one of the most affordable divisions there is. And that's why we chose it. And I love it. I love racing that.
And it seems to have a good field of cars out there, and all the guys
does.
seem to have. I mean, there seems to be a little bit of camaraderie. I mean, there's I know you
There's
guys.
some rivalries.
There's
too.
some rivalries out there, but I'm sure everybody's out there for. It seems like it's a fun division to be a part of and be.
I agree. I think we definitely want to beat each other, but we don't get crazy with it. Sometimes we do, but we try not to. We try to keep our wits about us, and yeah, I think it's a fun class to try to race. I hope more guys come next year.
And the cool thing about it with you is you have a first rate sponsor
That's right.
I mean, this guy, I've sat and talked with him a couple of times, and I mean, he's into it, like you said earlier. He's into it. So
he absolutely loves racing. So he grew up around it. He's from the Iowa area, and he grew up around racing. He always loved it, and then he joined the service and ended up, over here and was looking for a place to call his home. And so I guess that would have been about 14 or 15. He kind of migrated to Langley, and he's been coming ever since, and he just loves it. And you're right. I'm absolutely lucky to have Mosquito Joe as a partner. And I definitely call him a partner. It's a lot of people think we're friends, started off as friends, and that's why he sponsors me. That is absolutely not the truth. We have become the best of friends since then. But the truth is, back then, I've always loved interacting with the fans, right? I love the way the kids look up to you. And I know that I always thought it was cool when I was a kid to meet somebody that I know I'm not famous. Don't get me wrong. I know I'm not famous, but to them, I am. We are.
Oh,
we're stars.
That's exactly right. That's what they're.
Absolutely. So I always took the time, even though it was coming out of my own, I had no sponsors back then. And I just thought it was cool to give the kids a little something, right? So I bought these little Frisbees with little number 22s on them, and I would sign them, and I would interact with the kids. Well, that was the same time that Robert Rummels, by the way, is the owner of the local Mosquito Joe franchise. Of course, he serves the peninsula and the Richmond area. Anyway, he was here at the track, and he just happened to see me, and he told me later, I was looking for a driver. Trying to figure out who I wanted to sponsor. And I saw you there, and we talked, and then I saw your race, and I was like, that's the guy I want. I want to say that was the race I knocked somebody. I knocked somebody out of the way, and he was like, that's my guy. And because that's the way he is, right? He's just, he loves it. So anyway, that's how I had no idea that guy from Adam, and he bought my quarter panel, and then we've been partners ever since.
And he's really, he comes up here and with Brian sometimes, and I'm gonna tell you what, he's into it now. He'll tell you what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely, he loves it. He loves it, and he really loves super streets and grand stocks. Those are the two divisions that he really loves out here. So he was a little disappointed when I told him I didn't want to do super streets anymore, but he stuck with me, and now I made him a Ucar guy. He loves Ucars too.
Hey, I like them too. I sit out here and watch them. That's one of my favorite divisions because it's close. It's close to what I used to do as a mini stock driver in Southampton. So it's really, it's really close to that, and I really love watching the Ucars race. So,
yeah.
And to have Mosquito Joe behind you, and that you're iconic. You're like an iconic figure with the Mosquito Joe and everything. And I know you've done the koozies and all this other stuff out here. And,
so now those little Frisbees that I used to give out, now they've become the big ones. And he buys a bunch of Frisbees for me every year and sign those out, and the kids really love it. And I'm happy to do it.
So how long have you been racing in total back through the years?
So I did not grow up around racing. I liked cars. My dad liked cars, but we just never. In fact, I grew up in Wisconsin, right? And there was a track within 5 miles of me, and I had no idea, actually, until I left to join the Navy, that there was a track there. But anyway, what I started off in autocross, right? One of my Navy friends got me into autocross in the late 90s. I kind of fiddled around with that. But then in the mid 2000s, after my son grew up and I was done taking him to baseball and basketball games, I needed something to do. So one of my friends introduced me to autocross. I had a great time with that. And at that time, I had a Mustang, an old Fox body Mustang. I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this to this car and make it better and all this kind of stuff. And my wife said, or getting that car together and all that. And then I started coming to Wacky Wednesday. That's what it was.
Oh.
I came to Wacky Wednesday and I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. So I was doing that for a couple of years. And then I was going to fix up this Fox body Mustang and make it better. And I don't know what happened. I just was looking through some classifieds or something, and there was a couple of Ucars there for like $1,500 for both of them. So I said, hey, what the heck? I'm going to buy these instead of $1,500. Hey, this is going to be easy. I mean, how hard could it be? Yeah, I was out.
Famous last words.
Yeah, that's right. That
Famous
was a
last words.
rude awakening there. But instead of putting all this money in this Mustang, let's buy these cars. And I showed up to the track. I swear to God, I had nobody with me. I had no clue what I was doing, nothing. And luckily, a few guys took some pity on me. They were like, man, look at this guy. He's got some you-know-what showing up here with knowing nothing. And, they took me under their wing. They helped me out a little bit. This is Tim Wilson and Tracy Hildebrand. I don't know if you know Tracy.
Yep. Well, I know the name. I don't know him personally.
Yeah, they kind of took me under their wing and started, hanging out with me, taking care of me, helping me out. And they taught me a lot. And I learned a lot throughout the years. Sammy Gata is another guy that taught me a lot those early years. And
so you'd go home and work on the race cars and come back in here and think you've done something. You don't know what you got into.
I had no idea. I didn't even know what camber was when I bought those Ucars. I had no idea what camber was. I'm like, oh, that's cool. You tilt the tire, and these guys are just laughing at me. But of course, I've learned over the year. You learn it by doing.
Oh, well, that's like Rick Godovic. He didn't know what camber was, and he was out there in the lake mom. And I mean, the story was Frank Denny. He was testing the car somewhere, and he asked Godovic, says, what's wrong? He said, no. Yes, I'm doing good. He said, no, you need to stop where you are. So he stopped him on him. He said, now, when you go back out there again, see if you can go a little bit faster. He said, and what do you got your camber set at? He said, what? I don't know nothing. He said, I just put the tires on the car and we come on out of here.
Yep, that was me.
It's fun to learn, though. It's fun to get into that, get a part of that.
Look, back then, I think I knew how to change oil and maybe the air filter and not much more than that. And over these, well, I guess it's been 15 years now, or 13, 14 years. Over all these years, I've learned a ton. I can do a whole lot more than that now. It's been fun to learn how to work on cars, learn what cars are about. And now it's all we think about, to be honest.
Yeah, that's something. And you said you thought you got out of it at one point. You don't ever get out of it.
No.
I mean, it's in your blood. You're not going to get out of it.
The only way you can do it is to leave the track completely. And just, I never had the heart to do it. I just loved it so much.
Yeah, I went down and talked to Kenny Schrader one time at his shop. Scott and I both went down there, and we were talking to him about getting out of racing. And I told him I was almost out of it. I said, thought I was going to be doing a lot of baseball stuff. That didn't work out with my son. But he said, let me tell you something. He said, the only way you're ever going to get that racing out of it is you got to die. He said it ain't. And here he is, what, 60-some years old? And he just won one of those dirt modified races the other night. So, I mean, he's still going strong. So
my wife tells me I only got a few more years left. She wants to retire.
Well,
I don't know how I'm going to work that out. We'll see.
Well, what retired me from driving a race car was my daughter.
Yeah.
I mean, she went off to college, and I made up my mind. I said, look, I can't do college and this and work and everything I had going on.
Right.
So I got to give up something.
Right.
And I can't. So I gave up my racing, sold all my stuff, and I said, that's it. I'm done. No, I wasn't done. I wasn't nowhere close to being done.
You know, here's a funny thing. When I did try to stop racing, you go from just full on 3, 4, 5 nights a week working on cars and doing stuff in the garage and thinking about racing 24/7 to absolutely nothing, right? Nothing. And then you're like, well, what do I do with my life? That was really part of it too, is all I was doing was, sitting in my chair watching TV and falling asleep, being an old man.
Yeah.
And, that doesn't work. It just, there's nothing in between. It's full bore.
It's there. You got to do
and that's another reason why I picked Ucar, right? It wasn't quite as full bore as Super Street and Grand Stock, but still something.
Still, to be competitive, you got to get out there and still work on them.
And it's not in my nature to just kind of ride around. I want to try to win, right? And to do that, you can't. Yeah, you gotta be wrenching on your car constantly.
And then what kills me is some of these guys they'll come out here and race, load the car in the trailer, and they don't even think about that car again until next week. When they get to the racetrack, then they think about it when they get here and mess with it. And
rarely does that work. It can work for a while.
I haven't seen much of it working.
I think it's people telling me that it works, but I don't think they're telling. I think they're telling me fibs.
I
don't think that works. I think you absolutely have to. I mean, stuff loosens up. So here's a great story that happened just last week. So we went to Carteret to race a couple weeks ago. We showed up for Friday's practice. We ran the first practice. The car handled great. I'm like, cool, this is great. But my buddy was like, dude, the car is loud. I said, you know what? I think you're right. It was a lot louder than. He's like, I think it's so loud as something coming apart. We opened the hood and the exhaust manifold broke in two.
Ooh.
Broke in two. I'm 4 hours away from home. I'm like, what am I going to do? I don't know what to do about this. So we're thinking about, go to a junkyard. I don't know if they'll have this, blah, 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 blah. So we got it off and we said, okay, I think we can weld this together. So now we're hunting around for a welder and ended up, nobody had a welder there, but one of the guys said, look, there's a guy down the road. He'll hook you up. So we took I called him up. He said, yeah, come on down here. I'll hook you up. Come on down there. He had his welder in his hand. He was ready to go. I walk in the door. He welds it up. And I said, well, what do I owe you? He said, nothing. You're good. And he said, just go win the race. And I mean, that just shows that's.
But it's amazing. It's amazing to me how many people in this sport, they're willing to help you at any time.
Absolutely.
But then again, they're the ones that want to beat you when they have an opportunity to beat you.
Absolutely.
But they will help you and give you stuff. I mean, I went to Dixieland one time and my car was messed up. And I said, well, I'm just going to load up and go home. I said, there's no need for me to sit here and fight this. And next thing I know, I had people I didn't even know. They hadn't even met these people before. All up under the hood of my car, working on my car, and got it back. And I ended up racing. So, I mean, that's pretty. It was pretty good. And nobody wants anything for it. They just want you to be out there.
That's racing. Absolutely right. And another example is some folks might remember, I think, was it the last race or the second to last race where my motor blew, or what we thought my motor blew? The oil was all.
Oh, yeah.
And sure enough, well, we thought we were going to be able to change the tires and go to the second car and all that stuff, but everyone was there trying to help, switch the tires, do this, do that. We got it back in the pits and everyone's, what do you need? And it's just, that's what I love about Langley and lots of other tracks too. Just the willingness, feel like a big family.
The people here at Langley, I mean, this is such an iconic racetrack. I mean, think about it, that you've had some of the greatest race car drivers that come through here, some form of fashion somewhere along the line. But it's an iconic racetrack, and when you're here racing, I don't know how you feel, but just me being here, sometimes I feel like, man, this is big deal right here.
Yeah,
To be a
this is
part of
something.
this to be a part of this, whether it's in a Ucar or in that late model that runs out here every week. You got to feel like, well, I'm a part of it, and then and I don't think Bill, Chuck, anybody here makes any more over late models than he does any other division he gets there we have here. I know Bill works hard with trying to help with the U cars. He tries to help. Brought the limiteds in this year, so that's a big deal. So
sure it is.
He does a great job on keeping it going. And when other racetracks were having their problems with COVID, we ran out here every race.
Yeah.
We did not miss. I mean, we started late one year, but we didn't miss races.
Yeah.
There were races here.
That was big.
And Bill made that as a priority to get that done. And we're the ones who benefit. Well, you guys benefit more than I do, but I mean, benefit from the fact that he makes that a priority for his race car drivers to be here and be a part of it.
Absolutely.
So I know that's a lot of fun for you to be here, but you can go out there and look at them U cars, and we already know who Bill Eaker is. We see that car coming. We know who that belongs to.
Yeah.
But that last race, I mean, you brought up about that last race. Now, you did go out there. Y'all were switching everything around, but
yeah. So that was kind of we got kind of faked out there. Buck Roos, he's yelling at me, right? So I took the one lap, right? I got the one lap, and then on my second lap, I spun out, and the oil was spewing everywhere. I'm like, oh crap, I blew my motor, right? Didn't really look at it. I got out of the car, and Buck Roos is saying, dude, you can qualify the other car. And I thought to myself, really? I don't think that's right. But I said, okay. And so Jesse Jones was driving the green car that day.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And Jesse said, hey, do you need me to get out? And I'm like, yeah, I think I do. And then after he got out, I'm like, well, I can't qualify on these tires. I got to have my tires. So then we're doing this Chinese fire drill, trying to change the tires around. And that's when everybody jumped in. They're like, hey, here's a impact. I didn't have any of my tools in there.
Right.
Jack, and they're all helping me switch all the tires. And then of course, that wasn't right. I can't qualify that other car. And they made the right call. No. Kind of screwed Jesse out of his qualifying time, but he didn't mind. He kind of liked coming from the back. But that, and then luckily we were able to figure out that it was just the oil line. The motor was not blown, and
that was a good thing that the motor wasn't blown. I know that was a relief on you.
It sure was.
All right, let's talk to Wesley Outland. I see Wesley finally got on here and with us, and we'll talk to Wesley. This is one of my racing heroes, Wesley Outland. How you doing, Wesley? We don't have. Wait a minute. Hold on.
That was on me. My mic was muted. I just wanted to make sure you couldn't pick up any coughing or anything in the background while you guys were carrying on your conversation with Bill. How are y'all doing tonight?
We're doing good. How are you doing?
I am cold. Not gonna lie to you. I wish it was 100 degrees again.
Hey, look, man, you're the one that goes out and does football games and everything. I know this is good for you.
Yeah, I'm one of those types that it might be cold, but as long as I'm working, I don't think about it. But it's been, I think that first hint of cold weather has happened this past weekend, the last couple of days, and I just ain't really officially got into the cold weather just yet. So, but I'll adapt. I think this weekend at Florence, South Carolina, with the temperatures in 30 degrees, I'll definitely be, very used to it before the end of the weekend for sure.
So you're going to be down there. I'm going to be down in Florence.
Hey,
I'm coming down to hang out down in Florence a little bit too. So I can't wait to see you down there and talk with you. But tell us a little bit. I mean, what are your opinions on everything? I mean, Florence is going to have a huge race this weekend.
I think it was already going to be an amazing race. And when Flow Racing stepped up and put $35,000 into the purse, I think it just made it even more bigger. And then the fact that you've got Dale Earnhardt Jr. returning back to Florence Motor Speedway for the first time in over 22 years. That's where he got his career started. And I always tell people Never forget where you come from. Never be afraid to go back to your roots of where you got started. Even when you make it up to the top level of the big time, always remember to go back and visit where you started. I do it all the time in my announcing broadcast career. This past weekend, I went to County Line Raceway, and I've had a relationship with the Edward and Carolyn Upchurch, Brenda Holcomb, James Upchurch for over 22 years. Probably as long as since Dale Jr. raced at Florence as the relationship I had at Elm City. And to be invited to go up there and go and announce and see all the people, it's just humbling to remember that when you make it up to this level, just remember all the people that helped you along the way. And you're humble and you never forget that. Going to Langley a couple of weeks ago, Jack, and seeing you in person and working with Brian White and Chuck Hall and Bill Mullis, that was a humbling experience because it was close to 18 years since I had been there before.
I know, and it was really great to have you here. I mean, because it was like having a professional down on pit road. You were doing really good down there. We got a good one in Buck Roost. We do have a good one there, but you were doing a fantastic job. I was having a blast listening to you down there on pit road.
Yeah, me and Brian talked. And we said, how do you want to do this? And he's like, well, if you want to work pit reporting, you do pit reporting. And I said, well, look at that big grandstand over there in turn number 3. And he's like, well, sometimes me and Buck do MRN style, calling the races. And I said, okay, well, that's exactly what I'll do. If that'll make everybody feel accustomed to the regular feel with Buck Roost and you working with Brian, I'm fine with that. And everybody had a great time. I enjoyed it. I loved it. I will be back at Langley several times in 2023. Chuck Hall has already reached out to me, and of course, Bill Mullis as well. And we're working on schedules and dates. I know I will be a part of the announcing team on some capacity when I don't have my other crazy itinerary of schedules. But I do definitely look forward to coming back in 2023, no doubt.
Well, look, tell me a little bit what all you do have you're involved with. I know you do the football stuff. I mean, you got your own shows and stuff that you do, but what other racetracks do you go to? What is your, I mean, you got something going on all the time.
Oh yeah. Jack, I started announcing when I was 13. Been doing this for 28 years. I'm just about to hit 40. I own my own radio network, community radio network. We are CRN.com, 87.9 FM. I have a radio station that I have in the Carolinas that I operate and take care of 24/7. They handle music. They handle also sports. We are on so many podcasts and replay outlets. We've got Finish Line. We've got Full Throttle. I do stuff with iRacing. And that was just because of the pandemic. You guys were mentioning that Bill Mullis and Chuck kept Langley going when the pandemic was going on. Sadly, where I lived in the Carolinas, we went about 3 or 4 months not doing anything. And that was actually how I got back into announcing iRacing broadcasting. They said, hey, man, here's an opportunity. Would you go for it? Do it with Lucas Oil? I said, yes. And the next thing you know, other people found out that I was back announcing iRacing again, and they reached out. And then I do iRacing on LSR TV. I do Race Sim Media. I do the OSR Network. I do special events. So, but to answer your question on the reality side of things, besides virtual, I do obviously racing. Racing's my first passion. I do football, play-by-play for football. I do color analysts as well, sideline reporting. Wherever they tell me to go, that's where I'll go to. We do basketball. Basketball is getting ready to crank up high school and college level. And then, of course, it transitions into the spring, and I'll do lacrosse, and I will do soccer, and I will do baseball and softball. And then somehow or another, racing will swing back into there as well. And it is a vicious circle. It goes nonstop all year long. And I really found out probably when COVID hit, Jack, and I'd already kind of started being diversified a little bit, being diversal, but realizing that I needed to expand and do a lot more than just racing. And it's been good. It's been fun for sure.
Well, I know one thing. You do racing. You are probably one of the busiest racing people I've ever seen. You and Lenny Paticki, I tell you what, you all are busy as I don't know what. But how do you get prepared for? Let's say you came to Langley, and I understand you were very prepared when you got to Langley. I mean, you knew a lot of the stuff going on. How do you get prepared? Like you said you were at County Line. That's a whole different type of racing than what you're normally doing. So how do you get prepared for these things?
So one of the things that I absolutely love is just building the friendships with the drivers and with the families. We live in a world today where you have Google Docs, you have spreadsheets, you have so many opportunities on the World Wide Web, social media, and of course, websites where if you take the time, you can prep and prepare before you step foot at the racetrack. 9 times out of 10 today, when I prepare for a broadcast, and it doesn't matter whether it's for racing, for football, for basketball, baseball, a rugby tournament, I don't care. 9 times out of 10, I am prepared before I ever even step foot on the property. Now, every announcer has a different way of doing things. The way that I do things might be different than others. Some people like to write it down on notepads. Some people like to do what James Essex or my late mentor, colleague, friend, Rick Eshelman did by having note cards, index cards.
Right.
And I'm not going to lie to you in that. But I believe that also in the time that I started my career at 13, back in 98, 99 to where we are now in 2022, 23, I kind of surface around the whole notepad, timing and scoring on the computers, social media generation. So honestly, Jack, I'm the type of announcer where if we don't have timing and scoring, then that doesn't bother me because I'm used to writing the numbers on a piece of paper if need be, or if I have to do it that way. But if we do have the technology, well, then you're ahead of the game. So 9 times out of 10, I do spreadsheets. I have everything prepped and prepared, broken down in each class. And by the time I get to the racetrack, it's more or less, hey, man, how are you doing? How's Miley Smith doing? How's Mark Wirtz doing? How's the family doing? How's everybody doing at the racetrack? How's the season been? And you build up a relationship with them, and then you can focus on being a better announcer because you have stories to talk about because you took the time, not rushing to get announcing intel information, but to get to know the drivers.
Well, you know, Wesley, one of the things that I've learned, and I'm not anywhere near your level, but what the things I've learned is when you go down and talk to these people and get in, you know, talk to them and get to be a part of what they're doing, you get a lot of information, and you can't, you know, a lot of the people around here sometime, or some other places, I ain't gonna say around here, but other places that have media people, they like to run their mouth about things they pick up. I mean, there's things these guys talk to you in confidence about that you need to know, but you don't need to put it out there to everybody, let them know what's going on. And that's where you build your reputation to build what goes on. And I gotta say, I hope I'm part of that. I mean, because that's what I try to do. I spend all my days during the week preparing for the show and getting shows set up and looking at whatever and talking to people. That's what I love to do. And so you are way above me. So, I mean, I'm trying to learn a little bit from you.
Well, I appreciate that, Jack. And I actually say the same thing to you. You were prepping and preparing for this show a week ago. And honestly, I got to give you props because that's something that I've never really ever done. People don't realize, and Jack, I know you do, or Lenny Baticki does with PRNs at the track, longtime friend and colleague, or anybody else that does podcasting, okay? Podcasting or does radio shows, TV shows for that matter. You know, of course, I worked for the Bull Ring on Speed 51 TV before it became Racing America for over 3 years with Bob Dillner and MAV TV. And we literally would watch every race that went on across America, and we would pick who we'd want to have on the show. And like literally, you could try to set people for certain dates, but you also look at the history of what goes on. Like for instance, when Ross Chastain did what he did at Martinsville with the Hail Melon, he was the hottest guy in NASCAR for that week leading up to Phoenix. Ty Gibbs was also, because of what happened between him and Brandon Jones. So if you're anybody in the media world, you want to reach out to these guys. You want Ross Chastain on to get his thoughts of why you're the hottest driver doing what you did at Martinsville to make the championship for Phoenix, though he came up one spot shy, runner-up, to of course, Joey Logano. But look at Joey Logano. You got Coleman Presley going to be on your show. He's not drove a late model at Hickory in almost 12 years. They go to Phoenix last week. They win the championship for Penske Racing, okay?
Yep.
And then they turn around. They go back to Hickory Motor Speedway this past Saturday. Joey Logano is returning the favor as a spotter to Coleman Presley. Coleman Presley's in the car, and they win. You got a great story. That's why they're on the show today.
Yeah, and you know, that's one of the things. I've had a long relationship with Coleman. So, you know, that was when he won that race, that was one of the first things I said, look, I got to reach out to him and get him on here, because that's huge, because he hasn't been in a car in a while. So I thought that was really a big deal. So what?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, no, you literally just in closing to this subject is you just find so many storylines, and you find drivers doing things that you want to have them be a part of a show of, because Jack, you have a great show with the Racing Insider, with what we do with Finish Line, what other people do with their shows. You want to make it entertaining. You want to have great content on, because those great contents is going to build up your listener base, your viewer base, and make people want to tune in for sure. Definitely.
Right. And I try to, like, I got Bill here tonight, and I try to make it an interesting situation where we have a little bit of Langley, a little bit of this. I don't want to base everything right here. I want to get them, get it from everywhere, and give everybody a chance to see what's going on in other places.
Yeah. And listen, I've got some people that are critics. There's people that hate me, and I don't know why. There's people that don't like me. Some people just hate to hate. There's some people that don't like race car drivers because they don't like the color of their car. The same thing could be said about announcers. And I will say this, and I don't mean to say this in a mean way. At the end of the day, whether you love me or hate me, as long as I did my best in my heart, that I know I put out the best product that I could, it's not about me. And that's the number one thing that I'll always remember, that the late Rick Eshelman always told me at a young age, whenever I was 16 years old on a park bench at Eldora Speedway when I first met him. And I had a great relationship and friendship with Rick Eshelman, and I miss him to this day. I know the world of outlaws will never be the same. And I know we're talking about dirt and not pavement, but I've done it all. Like you said, Jack, I've done dirt, pavement. I've done drag racing. I've done karting. I've done tractor pulling. Hell, I've done lawnmower pulls before and made it sound like the most exciting thing on the planet in a little town in Johnston County. So, but what I will tell you is, at the end of the day, I don't want nobody to know my name. I know my name's on the bottom left of the monitor here. Whether they know my name from Adam, I don't care. As long as they felt that they had a great show, they enjoyed themselves, and they're going to want to come back and tell their friends and family and fill up those grandstands for Bill Mullis, Chuck Hall, Michael Diaz, Charlie Hansen, Steve Zacharias, Darren Hackett, whoever it is that I'm working for, putting on a show as an announcer. That's all I care about. That's all I care about. The announcers are not the show. They are just a bridge to the race fans, to what's going on with those drivers in those cars.
And you do an outstanding job. I got to give it to you. You do a great job. I learned a lot from you while you were here, paying attention to what you were doing. And maybe someday I'll have an opportunity to work with you a little bit on something ourselves, and maybe come up with something.
Hey, listen, you're coming down to Florence. Me and you have got to get together. We're doing Finish Line live on Fox Sports Radio Carolinas, Rocket Media Promotions, and Chicken Bone Alley Podcast. Devin Rogers and I are coming together to simulcast, or collab is the word. Hello, not simulcast, it's collaboration. But we are going to be doing 3 days of Finish Line, probably going to do something in the afternoon, in the morning time, and then afternoon before the end of practice on Thursday. The same thing will be done on Friday. On Friday, we're going to be a part of the qualifying pill draw show. I'll be up on stage with David Rogers. We're going to interview all of the drivers. And, of course, you got your preliminary races on Friday night leading up to the South Carolina 400 that you can watch live on Flow Racing. And I'm going to be events coordinator for NASCAR this weekend. I'm going to be working right closely with Steve and Jacqueline Zacharias, and, of course, Shane Laws, such a great friend. Looking forward to seeing Shane Laws. Seeing so many people that I'm understanding coming from Langley and other racetracks up in the Virginias and the Carolinas coming down to work these events. And I will do some announcing on some capacity, Jack, but for the most part, I will be the guy that's kind of making sure everything's flowing fine on as far as the events side of things. Is everybody lined up like they're supposed to? Do we have everybody in place for opening ceremonies? Are the band going to be ready? Do we have everybody ready for driver introductions? Are we ready for the time to give the command to fire the engines? This is a new endeavor for me, but I'm very, very excited for it, and I'm looking forward to it. But we will still be doing the Finish Line Motorsports Show, and you are absolutely invited, Jack, to join us on set for a time or two.
I would be glad. Hey, I'll be there because I would love to be a part of it, and I thank you for the invitation. That'd be a lot of fun for me. Wesley, I appreciate everything you do. I appreciate you spending some time with us tonight, and hopefully I'll get to see plenty of you down there this weekend at Florence. I know you're going to be a busy person, but I'm gonna hang out. I'll probably be around you somewhere, just following you around a little bit. So don't get nervous if you see me around.
You're more than welcome to join me and Terry Radford. I've got a young aspiring announcer from Savannah, Georgia, who was just trying to get his foot in the game. And his name is Terry Radford. And I'll say this in closing, Jack, if you don't mind. Bill, I know we really didn't get a chance to talk very much, but man, thank you for what you do racing in the Ucars, because I tell people this, whether it's a Ucar or a late model, they're all somebody. You got to make these guys be like rock stars, and you got to remember that they're a fan to somebody out there on that racetrack, whether it be the mamas or the daddies or just somebody that knows that guy when he used to be a painter or a carpenter. You know, there's fans that like Ucar drivers as much as they love these late model guys as well. And, you know, like I said, I started at a young age, Jack. I'm 39 now. I made some mistakes when I was younger. I done things differently than the way that I should have, but you grow and you learn, you adapt. I tell people at 13, I was working in the press box with grown men and women. So did I make mistakes? Did I make people mad? Did I learn from it? Absolutely. Have I grown from it? Absolutely. Have I matured from it? Absolutely. So when you grow up in life, and it doesn't matter whether it's being an announcer or a race car driver or being a promoter or anything in the respect of life, make mistakes, learn from them, grow from them. That will make you the integrity of being a better person on this planet, no doubt about it. And also, I'll say in closing, Jack, never forget where you come from, and always be willing to help somebody else climb the ladder to your success, because I believe, like helping Terry Radford or helping other people I've worked with in the past, the way that you treat others, the way that you make people be wanted and learned how you've done things will definitely go a long way for you in the way people think of your character and the friendships that you build along the way too.
You got that right. You got that right. Well, Wesley, thank you so much for your time tonight, and I'll see you in a couple days down in Florence.
I'm leaving out tomorrow. You got a hot seat for me on Finish Line. You're more than welcome anytime, Jack Dodson. And again, thank you so much to you and Bill for letting me be on. I leave out first thing in the morning, so I look forward to seeing you guys when you travel. Hope everybody has safe travels down there. And by the way, you can watch the race on Flow Racing. I just want to throw that out there. And again, I'll see everybody at Larry King Law's Langley Speedway sometime soon in 2023.
All right, man. We appreciate it. Can't wait for you to get up here. And
thank you, guys.
We'll talk to you again real soon, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, and happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, thank you. Well, that was a pretty good deal with having him on here.
Yeah.
I mean, he's into everything, and he loves what he's doing. That you can tell he loves what he's doing.
For sure. And he is pretty good. I like the way they did the MRN style. You're able to, can't always hear it while you're at the track, but I always watch it on Flow Racing, and yeah, he's good.
Yeah, he's one of the busiest and one of the best around. So that's one of the great things about him. So yeah, Rodney, he is one great announcer, and if he's gonna be here with us some next year, that's gonna be a benefit to us to have him, have somebody like him here. And I thank Bill Mullis and Chuck and everybody for letting him have a chance to be here. Now, Rick Powell, you know Rick?
Yeah.
You know Rick Powell?
Of course.
He's a smart aleck.
What'd he say?
Rick Powell started, you know who ain't young? And he put my name down there. All right, Garrett. Hey, Garrett Zacharias, I'm waiting on you to call in. I mean, come on the show now, man. Come on. We're ready for you. And I'm not laughing, Rick. I'm not laughing with you. You know, I'm still upset with the fact that you still drive a car with a big motor. He hates me bringing that up because he had a couple times when it blew a motor or something, and he came back out here and somebody accused him of having a big motor. I said, "Well, did you have it?" And he said, "No, I had no big motor." I said, "Well, you will from now on because I will tell everybody you did." So, anyway, yeah, this weekend in Florence is going to be huge, and I think it's going.
When are you leaving? When are you leaving to go?
I'm not going to be able to leave till Friday morning. I'm going to leave Friday morning early and go.
And there is racing on Friday also, you told me.
Yeah,
right?
the limiteds and bandos, I think all of them are racing on Friday night, and the late models, and I think they got a few classes on running on Saturday during.
How about Ucars? I'm joking.
I don't know.
I'm joking.
I don't know. I haven't. To be honest with you, I haven't seen a complete list of who all's. I mean, I've been keeping up with who's going down from here, going down there. We've got Mark Works going and Butterbean's going.
Yeah, who's Mark Works, Butterbean, who else?
Riley Music is going to be down there.
Is he running in regular late model?
I'm not sure. They got him listed as late model.
Yeah. How about Cody? Is he going too?
I hadn't seen his name on the list
Okay.
as far as going down there, but I have seen Mark and them be down there, and this is going to be the first race for Butterbean with his new team.
Oh, right. The Cars Tour team.
Yeah,
right?
He's going to be running with Lee Pulliam in that group. That's their car that he's going to be racing this weekend.
All right.
So that's going to be cool about that. Oh, he says Riley is running both races. Anthony Warren says Riley is running both races.
Okay.
So that's cool. So that's going to be fun to see him being down there. I mean, this kid, he is part of what the future's got going on around here.
There are some brilliant young race car drivers coming up.
Look at some of these kids that we got around. How would have never, some of them, my age when I was that little, I'm that young, I would have never thought about being in a race car like that. These guys.
Things are different now, for sure.
Oh yeah, tell me about it.
For sure. But
Riley Music is,
he's a good little race car driver. For sure.
And of course, he's got the heritage behind him with the Warrens and everything behind him. But yeah, that's
absolutely.
Him being in both races, that's going to be a lot of fun for him. And this guy's Garrett Zacharias. I've known him for years, and when he was real small, he was running bandos and stuff like that, and we used to keep up with him, and he would talk a lot. We had a blast with him, and he's going to be. His dad had a stroke last year, and he's been having a lot of issues there. But he's going to be running the race at Florence in a limited.
Okay.
So he went down a couple weeks ago and run a race down there to get used to it, because he's been running what they call super stock up in New York.
Okay.
It's a different.
Is that like a super street?
It's kind of, but it's kind of. If you look at his car, it's really close to a limited, maybe. But I think that's the reason why the transition. But this is somebody else's car he's driving down there, so that's.
Is he supposed to be calling you or what?
He's supposed to be coming on like Wesley did.
Oh, okay. It's not working.
So Rick Powell is going to get on my last nerve tonight. He said race cars had stone wheels back when I was racing. He needs to leave me alone. Yeah, well, let them all have their fun now. Let them talk. But anyway, we're waiting on Garrett. Hopefully Garrett will be calling soon. Coleman Presley's going to be calling in a minute. We're coming on in a few minutes too. And
that'll be interesting to talk to him, right?
Oh yeah, I mean he's
probably Jack sky high from winning that race, right?
Yeah, and being like Wesley said a few minutes ago, I mean that's the first time he's been in a car in a long, long time, and goes out there and wins the race. Of course, he has Joey Logano on the spotting for him.
That doesn't hurt.
I think that's really cool to see that happen. That Joey went up and spotted for him, and like
Yeah.
he does on Sundays for him. So that I think it's really cool to see them do that. And
always like to see the guys like Wesley was talking about, remembering your roots, right? Coming back to the small tracks, giving back.
well, you're getting a lot of that.
Yeah.
You're getting a lot of that.
A lot more nowadays.
And Dale Jr., you know, he is determined to be a part of the late models. He wants to be the grassroots, as they call it, I guess is what they call it. He wants to make that huge. He wants to be a part of it. That's the reason why he went to Florence. He went to Wilkesboro and run the race at Wilkesboro.
Yep.
And I've talked to some of the people down at Wilkesboro and said, look, he didn't act like he was better than anybody else.
Right. He was just one of the guys.
He just wanted to be there and be a part of the race. And his name he didn't want his name to mean anything.
Right.
So I told Shane Laws, I said, I hope you remember Dale Jr. running that race. Don't be messing up too much. But yeah, there you go. And he says now his link ain't working.
Garrett?
Yeah, I don't know. What's his name? Wesley, he had a problem with it too.
Technology is great when it works, right?
Yeah, and I am not the computer man on this show. That's supposed to be Scott.
Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah.
And I could tell you some story after we get off the air. I'll tell you a good one that happened. But yeah, I learned the hard way. About that. But Scott, he does a great job. He knows all the ins and outs of the computer stuff and gets us going. But when he left out, he left it to me, and I've struggled with it from time to time. And
that's part.
But the links here, that ain't my problem.
That's not me.
That comes from somewhere else. He said, "Let Bill talk while we're waiting."
Yeah, all right. We can talk about something else. What else should we talk about? When is Coleman coming on?
Yeah, he ought to be coming on any time now.
Yeah, it's 8 o'clock, right?
Right at 8 o'clock. So hopefully we'll get him on here real soon. And Garrett, he's still having problems with his. Wow. I wouldn't know what to do if we didn't have a problem once in a while. But see, if you got people like Rodney Davis, he reminds you of everything that goes wrong.
Yeah, of course.
Well, Wesley's teachers are telling him how to get on it. Hopefully Coleman can get on here.
Yeah, that would be terrible. Coleman had trouble too.
It says, Bill, don't you want to go mini stock racing?
Mini stock racing? Where would I do that? You know what? Dominion, I think.
Yeah, Dominion does have it.
Mini stocks, yeah. Well, there was some. Look, there's been some talk. Some folks would like to see the Ucars change to mini stocks. I personally, I don't want that. Right? I've got the car built already. Putting a whole bunch more money in it doesn't seem like something I'd really like to do. But I'd be up for changing the cars a little bit and maybe gradually getting to the mini stock rules if that's what the track decides they'd like to do. But I think going to straight boom from where we're at right now to mini stock, I mean, that's a huge, the cars are completely different, right? The bodies are all, fabricated bodies, just all kinds of things that my car would immediately be uncompetitive. And nobody wants that.
That's what I was getting ready to tell you one time before. When I was running mini stocks in Southampton, when it was on dirt, I was decent. I ran good. When it went asphalt, and I'm sure Rodney Davis going to say something. But when we went to the asphalt, I was out to lunch at that point. I mean, you had to have new tires every week. Them boys came from Langley. They came down and did an exhibition race, and we raced against them.
They spanked you?
No, they tore us all to pieces. I mean, it wasn't even, it was at the point where it wasn't even fun.
Right, yeah.
And so, I mean, they just went, and Rodney was one of them.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it was unbelievable. So I said, no, I can't compete with these guys on this.
Right.
But I could on dirt, but I couldn't then. So
when did Southampton change from dirt to asphalt?
They ran dirt for 5 seasons. And I think, gosh, I can't remember exactly, 96 or 7, something like that. He came in and
paved over the
track and redid the track and everything.
Well, it didn't last long then, because I think they closed in like 2005 or 3.
Yeah, something like that. It didn't last long at all after that.
Yeah.
And it's basically the situation was that you didn't have the local guys. When it was dirt, it was the local guys right there that were part of it.
Right.
Now Coleman's having problems.
Oh my goodness. Can you just have him call in? I mean,
yeah, we could do that.
Why don't we do that?
Yeah, I think that's probably going to be the best way. Let's get Coleman just to go ahead and call in. Yeah, that'd be the best way to do it. You're right. Link says not found. 97 was the first year of the pavement at Southampton.
Okay.
And one of the then he hung up on me.
You sure you didn't hang up on him?
No, I didn't touch it.
Call back, Coleman.
Oh, well, what a night. Hello, Coleman Presley. How you doing? What's going on with you?
Put on speaker.
Technology up here in the mountains. It doesn't usually work very well.
Oh, well, now, we have technology down here in the flatlands, and evidently I'm not working out very well. It's one of those things. Man, I wanted to say congratulations to you on that win you got this past weekend. That was huge. You're back in the car for the first time in a long time.
It was pretty cool. As a racer, you're always wanting to think that you still got it, but to go out there and show that you still got it is pretty special.
Hey, I thought you've always had it, man. You were pretty good back in the day too.
Yeah, back in the day, that's the key word. 10 years later, a few pounds later, there are some questions going in.
And look, your last 2 weeks have got to have been something special. You go out with you and Logano and Penske get that the Cup championship, and then you go win a race at Hickory with Logano spotting for you. I mean, how much better can it be for you?
Yeah, professionally speaking, it really doesn't get much better than that to reach the pinnacle and the Cup Series and bring home a Cup Series championship and be a part of the Cup Series championship, and then turn around 6 days later and go back to where essentially it all started. It was really a full circle moment.
Yeah, and I was telling somebody the other day when I was talking about you winning that race. That's where first time I ever met you was at Hickory Speedway when you were racing down there. And I told him back then, I said, man, this kid, he was good then, and look at him, he's still good. So I think that's.
Just because the truck's aged a little bit, late model racing's changed a little bit, Hickory's still Hickory. The little tips and tricks that I remember back from, my first fall ball win back in 2009, it's all still there.
Yeah, I'll tell you something. And have you had the urge that you really wanted to get back into racing again? I mean, as far as driving, I know you got a very lucrative deal with Penske, but I'm just saying, wouldn't you love to be back driving the car a lot more?
Yes and no. Ultimately, the reason I want to do this was just for my kids. They never got to see their dad as a race car driver. They've always known dad as a spotter. So for them, I wanted to give them the opportunity to see, what I was passionate about as a young kid and growing up, and how my childhood led me to where I am now. But to take it back to a more consistent or full-time urge, I've never really had that urge. I'm pretty at peace with my position in the Cup Series spot at Penske and for Joey.
I look back on your career, and it started out over there at JTG, well, you wasn't Doherty back then, but JTG Racing and everything. You've come a long ways.
Yeah. So I started at JTG. My second week out of high school, I moved down there and tried to learn the ins and outs of racing and working on cars as I was driving. And then, ultimately that transitioned me into a couple opportunities to crew chief while I still drove. And then ultimately that kind of opened up the spot world. So everything happens for a reason. And I feel like the reason all that stuff happened was to make me a really good spotter.
Yeah, and look, Anthony Warren just said you were just as good a crew chief as you are a spotter.
I don't know about that. I never could make cars go fast. People like Mark McFarland and Marty Lindley in the ARCA series, but I don't know. I enjoyed it. I've always enjoyed working on cars and tuning around in my own late models, and that was a lot of fun going back and working with Travis Bird this weekend at Hickory. Me and him went and tested on Wednesday beforehand, and just making the car better each run is something I've always enjoyed doing. So I wouldn't say I'm the typical driver, typical crew chief, or typical spotter. I'm just kind of a mix of all of them.
For some people that probably don't know a whole lot about you, Coleman, that you're a third generation race car family, I guess you could say, but a third generation driver too, because your grandfather, your dad, and you all drove.
Yep, for sure. And my grandfather was, in my eyes, one of the best, if not the best, short track drivers in the Southeast. Up through the 70s and 80s, racing against people like Jack Eaker, Marty Lindley. He really set the precedence for making a living off running the short tracks. And then obviously my dad kind of followed in his footsteps and reached the pinnacle of racing the Cup Series and had a very successful career. So there's a lot of volume to fill with them two ahead of me. So just to have a spot in the sport and feel like I've made a mark in the sport makes me feel like I've carried on that Presley name in a good way.
I think you have. I think you've done an outstanding job of bringing that Presley name on. What was it like to have your dad with you the other night when you won that race?
It was special. My dad, he hasn't really been at a racetrack since I've raced, so it's been close to 8 or 9 years since he stepped foot at a racetrack. So to see him there, that was fun. My wife sat with him in the grandstands and said, he started the day not really sure, kind of wondering why I did this because I qualified so bad. And by the end of the night, he was standing up fist pumping. So it's pretty cool to hear all those cool stories about him being excited.
And in the field you were racing against there at Hickory, that was no slouch of a field. You had a very good field of race car drivers there.
Yeah, there's a lot of cars. And it's like I told everyone, going into the weekend and then after the weekend, people that run short tracks every single week, whether they travel like someone like Connor Hall that does the Cars Tour or someone else, Charlie Watson, who runs Hickory a lot, it's hard to beat people that do it every single week and, have that knack and knowing what the track's going to do and what a late model's going to do and what the tires are going to do. Those guys are sometimes more challenging to beat than Joey Logano going up at the championship race at Phoenix. So to go back and just be in the game through practice and in the race made me feel like it was a job accomplished.
Yeah, you got the job accomplished. There won't no doubt about that, because that was a heck of a run. I kind of kept up with it a little bit during the time it was going on, but I was happy to see you get that win, because that you know, back in the day when I was hanging around down at JTG and hanging around over at other places and seeing you race, it's like one of my own kids being able to win a race.
I appreciate it. It's fun to be able to do that kind of stuff, and you know, like you said, have people along the way that's kind of followed you and got to know you and been there for you every step of the way. And like you said, you've been that person, and working with your son Lee, like, it's been a lot of fun to just see how everyone's, you know, life has changed and blossomed.
Yeah, I've looked at that. It's really interesting to see all you guys that were together back in that time with Lee when he was coming along, and where you all have gone from that point on. I mean, you're now a Cup Series champion spotter, and I mean, he's got friends that were crew chiefs, and I guess one of them was even one of the mechanics on a car that won in the Xfinity series. I mean, that's really a big deal to see all you guys doing so well.
It is, you know, and they're just ultimately comes down to you know, having a group of racers around you as you're, you know, planting your seed in the sport, and having people around you that's not afraid to work and be better. And that's really ultimately what our group was. There's been a lot of successful people come through that group, and it's been cool to follow along with all their stories.
Well, you think about it, JTG, how many people have come through that organization and moved on to other places and done other things? They've had a pretty good line there too.
Absolutely, yeah. It's been a great stepping stone location, and you know, they're great people to work with. I've known Tad since I was, you know, 7-8 years old, and I feel like a lot of my opportunities, whether it be through driving or spotting, wouldn't ever be possible without him. So I definitely, you know, hold a special place in my heart for him, and felt like he's, you know, done a lot for my career.
Well, I tell you what, Coleman, I really appreciate the fact you took a few minutes to talk with us tonight. I know you got a lot going on, and I appreciate you spending time with us. And maybe we'll talk you into getting in the car again soon.
Yeah, you know, I don't know what to think right there. You know, after the race, I was on a high saying, oh my goodness, I can do this again. Let's go to Florence this weekend. But then, you know, my wife quickly reminded me that we're going to Disney World with our kids. So never say never, but right now nothing's booked. But don't be surprised if, you know, a Facebook message comes out saying Coleman's scrolling back in a car.
Hey, look, I tell you what, Coleman, don't tell your wife, but the Thanksgiving thing down at Southern Nashville's coming up too.
It's a lot of money too. That'll put a turkey on the table, but man, I don't know. I think I'm gonna enjoy my kids this off season. We're gonna go celebrate the Cup Championship in Nashville and play a little basketball with the girls all winter long.
There you go. That's what you're supposed to do. Well, Coleman, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time. Congratulations on a big win, and maybe we'll see it again real soon.
Perfect. I appreciate it, and I hope you have a good Thanksgiving, good Christmas, and I appreciate what you do.
All right. Well, I appreciate it too, and thank you, and hope you have a good Christmas and Thanksgiving also. So take care of them kids.
Will do.
All right, man. Talk to you later.
Thanks, buddy.
All right. That we go back a ways. I mean, you know, back in the days when my son first went to Charlotte and we went to work at.
You were telling me that story.
You know, with the Wood Brothers JTG, they were both together at that point. And so I got to see a lot of these guys that were coming through there. I thought it was really, we were talking about it. I went up in Ken Schrader's box and hung out with him in the box at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and he has his own condo and everything. And I went up and hung out with him up there through JTG. And
wow, that's awesome.
So got to be a part of it. All right. Finally, we're going to get to see Garrett Zacharias on here. Garrett, I know he's got a lot to talk about. How you doing, Garrett?
How are you, man? How you been?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing great.
Are you ready to head to Florence?
Yeah, man. I'm definitely excited for another chance down there. It was a lot of fun last time, as you were saying earlier, and a lot of different experiences versus our cars up here and the late models down there. It was definitely a huge improvement in my career so far.
Yeah, I'm telling you what, I think you're gonna have a great race down there, and I can't wait to come down and watch you race down there this weekend. I've never seen you race it personally, so I mean, it's gonna be a big deal for me.
Yeah, I can't wait. We know, like you said earlier, we've known each other for years, and now finally I met you in person last year at Martinsville, and now you'll get to see me finally wheel a car down at Florence. I'm excited to go back with the team and run at Steve's track with all the opportunities down there and all the different people I'll meet. Like last time, it was phenomenal.
Hey, look, we had Steve on the show last week. I don't know if you watched it or not. We had Steve on here, and I said, hey, I can't wait to get down there because Garrett's going to be racing down there. And he kind of laughed, and he said, when Garrett gets down there, he's a race car driver. He ain't family when he gets down there. So I'm letting you know now. He's already said that.
Yeah, last time we went down there when we had our issues, he's like, yeah, man. I'm like, can you work on a deal here? Can I still start where I qualified? He goes, no. It's not family deals down here.
Well, yeah, that's what he told us too. So now, who is it that you're racing for down there this weekend?
AK Performance, Kendall Sellers and Jeff Sellers. That's what last time I went down there, I ran the 21 car. I'll be running that car again Friday night, as everybody knows, at 6:30 the feature rolls out. So we run for those guys. Really good group of guys. Definitely different working with new people and a new team from being up here with my one crew guy that I've had for years with our super stock and bando days. And it was a lot of different talk and different learning as new guys, and me just coming in from New York and just trying it. It was really good learning experience, and this time's going to be even better.
And you also did the a race somewhere else one time down this way too, didn't you?
Yeah, I ran beginning of the year this year in January, the New Year's Bash at Dillon. Wesley was actually announcing that. Yeah, we took one of our other cars down there this year, and we qualified through the B main. We were 2 spots out of locking in, and we started 32nd that night and ended up 10th on the lead lap. So that was a big learning experience. The racing down there, first time with a street stock down there, way different than up here. Just the different the competitors. The racetrack was way different than anything I've ever been on. Meeting all the new people down there was great. It was a lot of fun. 100 laps is a long time for me. I'm a little guy. Again, good thing they had a halfway break because I would have needed a water bottle real quick.
Yeah, it's a little different for you to have to go that long in one of those race cars. So, are you looking? I mean, you and I talked not too long ago about you're trying to secure something for the future. So, are you interested in trying to come to the Charlotte area or whatever to try to get close to the racing, or are you looking for something on a broader scale?
Yes, sir. I mean, any opportunity that I get, I'm grateful for it. Like I said, my goal in life right now is just to make it down south, as you said. That's a goal I've had forever. Especially like I said before, move up to an ARCA series. I'm trying some stuff right now with connections and everything. And my uncle Chris, he's helping a lot with it. I'm just reaching out to people, if they need anything for next year, or ARCA wise, as I'm saying. That's the goal that I want to make. I feel like I can, if I have the opportunity, live it to the fullest. It's just the right people and the right connections that I can get to get there. But that's the ultimate goal. It's slowly, creating slowly. That's my goal is to make it there. And then if I can make it there, maybe the next 3 series, you just never know with the people you meet. I connect with a lot of people every day, just seeing, even texting them for, my hero card stuff and, just seeing what they're available and, like this deal down here. And it's been great so far.
Yeah, I think, you're a good little wheelman. I've watched a lot of your races. Your grandmother sends me the link every week. I get it. And I sit and watch all your races on Friday nights, Saturday nights, whenever you're racing. And I think, you're a great little wheelman. I think you got potential to really do something great in this business if you get the right opportunity.
Yeah, no doubt. Like I said, like last year we ended up with 10 wins in the super stock, and we won the New York State Championship and Chemung. And this year we ran 15 races and won 11 of them, and also won the New York State Championship again as well. And then we had a big win up at Oswego this year, the $4 grand to win race. That was a highlight of my career so far. And then, like I said, getting this call a couple weeks ago from my uncle running this late model, and stepping into a bigger footstep deal, just getting my feet wet. It was great. That was my dream to run a late model ever. So it's all just, this next opportunity this weekend coming up is really great, and I can't wait. Hopefully a few spots better. It's a little bit more luck on my side, but like I said, I can't wait. I can't wait to get down there. I leave tomorrow morning at 5, and we'll be down there practicing Thursday all day, and we race Friday.
Now, I won't be down until Friday morning. I'll be down Friday morning and talk to you when I see you when I get down there. But I can't wait to see you race in person, because I think it's something I've been wanting to do for a long time. So, but you got a great field of cars going to show up for that limited race Friday night. So you got to be ready to go when you get there.
Yeah, and like that's the thing. Like the race we ran down there a couple weeks ago was a great learning curve for me. The 50 car, Boo Boo Dalton and McCumbee, all those guys on there that ran the first time, and Casey Kelly. It was just, the experience down there is phenomenal. And those guys have a lot of wins and a lot of laps around that place. And, just me following them all day Thursday, that practice I ran, and, qualifying second, that was just a highlight. I just couldn't believe it, and especially starting with our issues with the carb issue. We started 17th and ended up 6th with no yellows and only 75 laps is just, to me, it's a win. I mean, I'm just, first time ever there, was great, just laps after laps, and going into this weekend, it's a lot of set goals for coming into this weekend, a lot of laps I turned over that last weekend I ran, and I can't wait. It's an experience that I never thought I'd be able to do, and now I'm doing it with veterans that been in those cars for years and racing on my cousin's track, and for a great team as well behind me. It's just this time it's just maybe a top 3. We had speed last time when we were there. We qualified second, and we had pace with the top 2 guys in the feature. Just working through traffic last time and racing with the guys I'm going to be racing with hopefully this weekend, and a lot more experience and more cars to help me progress more into getting smoother and better down there with those guys and getting a good name.
Well, I can't wait to see you down there, and I can't wait to see your grandmother and all them too, because I talk to them a lot, so I can't wait to see them down there too.
Oh yeah, you'll be down there. Granny will be there. There'll be a whole crowd.
So yeah, and look, tell her she still has to do the recording, because I still save it on my Facebook, and so she still got to do that recording.
Oh yeah, she'll be doing it. She might get lost sometimes with her videos. Last time it was on the wrong car, but no, I'm grateful for her and all the videos she does all season long for me. It's great. Helps a lot of my family and friends watch, and all you guys that live far away. I appreciate her all the time for it.
Hey, look, man, I'm tell you what, she's hilarious sometimes with that thing, because I enjoy listening to her when she gets excited. She really gets excited, and I really love it when she does that, because and if you win, I see a lot of feet and everything then, because she's jumping up and down. So.
Yeah, she's right here. You need a new T-shirt?
Oh yeah, I love a new T-shirt.
All right.
I wore the other one out.
All right, I'll bring one down for you.
All right. Well, look, Garrett, I can't wait to see you down there this weekend, man, and good luck to you. I'll tell you then. Good luck to you when I see you. But you got a fan here that's pulling for you this weekend. So let's go out there and do it.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Jack. I appreciate you guys having me on again once again. Hopefully during my off season up here, or even see what I'm doing next year, and maybe we'll talk again here in a few months and see what my plans are for next year. And can't wait to see y'all down there and meet new people as always. Just get laps, get better each time we get on a racetrack, and see what we can do. It'll all be on Flow Racing, as you guys said earlier. We run Friday night at 6:30, so I'm excited.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I can't wait. All right, dude. Go to bed and get you some sleep so you can get up at 5 in the morning and head to Florence, all right?
Actually, right now, I got to get on iRacing here in a few minutes. I got a league race tonight at 9.
Oh,
so
man. Okay.
we'll have a busy night still. They're all going to bed right now, but I'll probably be bed here a little bit later. So yeah, we'll get rested.
You're not driving to Florence, so you're just probably going to sleep all the way down, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. I ain't driving.
Okay, yeah, I got a son that does that to me too. So he takes off and goes to sleep, and I end up driving all the time. But that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, well, you go play your iRacing and see if you can win that too.
All right, man. We'll try to. I appreciate it, guys. You guys have a good rest of your night. I'll see you Friday.
All right, man. I'll talk to you then. All right.
All right. Thank you.
All right, man. Later on. Cool kid.
Yeah.
He's a really cool kid, and he's won more races than anybody I know of. Bandos. Like you said, like this past year, he won 11 out of 15. He is a wheel man. I have to give it to him. He is a wheel man, and I'm excited to see him race because I've never seen him personally race. His grandmother sends me the link every week, and I stop whatever I'm doing and sit and watch him race. I mean, that's just what I do, and but it's a lot of fun. Bill, I appreciate you coming and spending time with us tonight, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for having me. I really had a good time.
And thanks for hanging out with me.
Yeah, no problem.
That's a lot of fun to have somebody here to hang out with you.
Yeah.
Good luck to you. I hope everything goes good this coming year. And
I appreciate
get you back on here real soon, man.
Absolutely. I'd love to do it again.
All right. We would love to have you back. And good luck to you.
All right.
All right, everybody. That's
See y'all later.
That's our show for tonight. We'll see you again next Tuesday night. There's an announcement getting ready to come out this week. I'll let you know probably when I get back from Florence. I'll let you know what the deal is. And but we got a surprise coming up next week on the show. So anyway, all right, everybody, please like and share our show. I want to thank Garrett, Zacharias, Coleman, Presley, Wesley Outland, and Bill for being with us tonight. Thanks so much. And we'll see you again next week.